Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jordan and welcome to the very first video for Video Game Jukebox. Man, I am super excited about making this first video. I have wanted to make this channel for so long and I just decided one day to just get up and do it. I've been wondering for so long how come there are no channels dedicated to video game music when I feel like it's such a big part of the industry. So for my very first video, I thought that I would go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about why I believe video game music is so important to the video game industry. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to tell you guys a little story that I feel really affected me as a young person when I was in high school that pertains to video game music. So the story goes like this. When I was in high school, maybe 16 or 17 years old, I went to a Catholic high school, and there are not many of the people who I knew, or many people who I talked to at least, were really involved with video games too much. There were definitely people who played video games, but not too many people who played as extensively as I did, and also not too many people who played maybe RPGs and the type of game that I'm about to talk about as I did. Not to say that this channel is only about music from RPGs or something like that, but this story is about a game that is an RPG. So because of that, it was very hard for me to relate whenever I figured out that my favorite video game is Final Fantasy IX. So in high school, I decided that that was my favorite video game. That was the game I really loved. And a big part of the reason I loved that game was the soundtrack. And I just love the soundtrack. Almost every song is composed incredibly. I'll probably make a video on why I think that soundtrack is so incredibly good. Even to this day, even though I was young then, as I've matured, I've grown to appreciate it in different ways. So, when I was about 16 or 17, I was in math club, Mu Alpha Theta, for those of you who don't know. I know it's super nerdy, very stereotypically Asian, but I was a part of this math club, and we had a convention every year. And so at the convention, they would hold it at this hotel near to where my high school was, and we would just basically spend a weekend in that hotel, or spend, I think it was actually during the school week. Part of the reason I went was because I got to skip school for part of the week. During that time, we would take tests and things like that. But during one of the break times, so there was a time when none of us were really taking any tests, and no one was. It was just a time in between our tests. So, anyways, during that time, me and a group of friends, along with some of the teachers, were just kind of walking around the hotel. And so we walked through the lobby, and suddenly, when I walked through the lobby, I heard a faint, tiny bit of this music that I love so much from Final Fantasy IX. It's a song called Melodies of Life. And so I hear a little bit of this song, and I'm just immediately I'm wondering what is going on? Where is this song coming from? So my first initial thought is that, oh, they're playing the song over the speakers in the hotel. But the more I thought about it, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that? It's a hotel. Why would they be playing obscure, video game music? During this time, I'm just sitting, I'm thinking, what is going on? And so as I start to listen closer, I realize that someone in the hotel, in the lobby, is playing the piano, and they're playing Melodies of Life, this song that I love so much. By the way, this song is gorgeous. I'm going to link it down in the description below if you guys want to see it. It's incredible. You guys should go ahead and listen to it. So anyways, I hear this song, and once again, I don't have many people who I feel like I can relate to at my school, and not too many people I can relate to in general who can appreciate the music from this game that I love so much. And so I immediately run, trying to find the piano. I leave my group, I leave my teachers, and they're all wondering what the heck has gotten to this guy. And I see there's this kid from another school, and he's playing the piano, he's playing this piece, and I'm so overwhelmed by just the beauty of the song, because he was actually a really good player. I'm overwhelmed by the beauty of the song. I'm overwhelmed by the nostalgia that's coming out of me while I listen to the song, and it's incredible. It's a beautiful moment for me, especially once again not being able to talk to many people about how much I love that game. So anyways, he plays the whole piece, and I'm basically the only one who sits there and watches him the entire time. And he gets up and he looks at me, and I think in that moment we both realize that he knows, because since I've been there the whole time, and I know that we both have this connection. We both have this mutual connection through that game, our love for that game. And we talk for about 2-3 minutes or so, and obviously we talk about how much we love the game and how interesting it is, and I ask him about, oh, where'd you get the sheet music for that, because at the time I was also playing piano and really wanted to learn that song. So anyways, we talk about that for a bit, and we learned that we both really love the game a lot, but honestly the words were not needed, because in the moment that he was playing the music and I was listening to his music, in that moment there was more human connection there, and there was more of a connection there than any of the words we exchanged. When we both understand the fact that we both love this game, we both love the music, that moment is more powerful, I think, than just talking, because the amount of emotions and the things that we feel about this game is bigger than words. And so I think that is what video game music really does for our industry. And I know that this sounds like a cheesy story or a stupid story, like, well, you just listen, so basically you just heard a song you liked, a guy was playing it on the piano, and you just listened to it play it. And that sounds base, right? But really what it's about, it's the bigger picture of that video game music can connect people in a way that maybe other parts of the medium can't. Like, you could talk to someone about that, right? Like, you can tell someone, hey, like, didn't you love this level in Dark Souls? It was so difficult and it was so cool to beat that boss. Whenever you got done with that boss, wasn't it so satisfying? You can talk about that, right? But does it really convey the feeling, the emotion of beating that boss in Dark Souls? Probably not, because it's hard to describe in words what it's like to feel like that. But through music, I think that there is a way for us to convey that emotion, that direct emotion of how we feel when we play that game. And so for me, that type of connection, that type of nostalgia, that type of just being able to relate to one another is so important in our industry. I think it's such a big deal. And I think that for me, it is one of the biggest reasons I play video games to this day, and I still continue to love games that I've played way back when. And it doesn't have to be whole songs like Melodies of Life. It can be small things, like when you hear the Mario theme, or let's say you're in the mall or something and you walk by someone and you hear their text tone is like the Zelda, like one of the Zelda themes, like whenever you open a chest, like that's, and you see that and you look at that person, you smile, you both understand that you both have this similar experience. It just connects people on a different level, I think, than just talking about video games, which is basically what a lot of our media is nowadays. It's talking about which game we like, what game we don't like, and that's great and all, but I think that music is really one of the best ways that people can really connect and understand the emotions that goes in and the amount of enjoyment that people have when they play a certain game. So anyways, I know this is a really long story with a really long explanation, but I just really wanted to start the channel off with a personal experience to explain why I think video game music is such a big deal in our industry. And for me, I feel that if you didn't really think video game music was a big deal before, hopefully you took something away from my story. And if you did already really treasure and really value video game music, if you really enjoyed it already, then I hope that you still got something, that you took something away from it. So anyways, this is how I wanted to start off the channel, and hopefully if you're watching this, months maybe after I've already filmed this, then there are other videos most likely in the channel. So go ahead and look through them and see if anything catches your eye, if there's any content you think is good, anything that interests you. If you are a fan of video game music, I'm sure there'll be something here for you. Hopefully you guys find some content here that you guys like. So go ahead, if you want to support me, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and like this video. Thank you guys so much for listening to me, and I hope to see you soon.